Alright, so now that hopefully all of you have seen my first video, which is a basic outline of what I'm showing here today, unfortunately I can't show you too much since I'm at work, but I really wanted to get this out there because I'm pretty hurt and pretty embarrassed. So anyways, for those of you who saw the first video, you know about Megan Myers, aka Megan Ray, and Ohio Tech Jake. So let me give you a little bit of backstory, and we'll have more videos to follow for more details, and we may even do a live session at some point, so we can have a little back and forth and I can fill people in. I've been with Megan for 4 years. Our anniversary is March 26th, which is ironic because her trip to see Jake was a 4-day trip that ended on March 24th, and 2 days later I took her to a $1,200 steak dinner with private car and everything. And she didn't tell me a word. But I digress. So a lot of what I've gathered so far, and what I know, is that all of this started sometime last year in August. I had noticed inconsistencies with our finances, our bills. We'd been evicted twice at that point, both times. The one because she insisted on using a bank account that turned out to not be hers, which is illegal. The second time, she had worked out a deal with a man who was, I guess, knew the family. She told me that the deal was to rent a house. Turns out it wasn't. It was a temporary thing for about 2 months. And then we were going to figure something else out. Ended up getting evicted from that one too because she didn't tell me until the last second. And I noticed that there were things wrong when we went to the third place after we stayed with family at my family farm, which she hated. And she left, stealing a U-Haul that I had rented and leaving it an hour and a half away, and basically telling me that it was my problem. And I ended up getting hit with a $1,200 bill on that. Then we had a joint bank account, which she shut off my card, and it turned out that she intercepted both replacements of my card, so I'd never had access to the account again, starting in August, which I've recently found out that account was overdrawn by almost $3,000 actually. Sorry, not over $3,000. It was about $2,700, and they closed it. It's now being followed up as a default. She changed our phones. We had phone account in both our names. She closed everything. Didn't return the phones, so of course they put it on our credit. She went and opened a phone account in her own name, then threatened to take away my phone if I didn't play ball. Ended up having to get my own. She changed the lease. When the lease was up on the apartment we're in, we were supposed to both sign it. I was at work. She turned around. She signed it, handed it back to the landlord. Told me that there was nothing I could do about it, that it was her place, and if I didn't like it, I could leave. So I stayed. Then, on top of many other smaller issues that we had with intimacy, her being distant, arguments, things like that, I stuck it out. And then things really took off. Christmas of this past year. I hit a deer, wrecked my car, and at that point she had changed the insurance to where it was only in her name and I was a driver. So when I needed access, she wouldn't give it to me. But she turned around and said that she had set it up. Went to an auto body shop that I knew personally, had known since I was a child. Very good people, very, very nice. They agreed to do the work, and we had a deductible. But here's the part I didn't know. She changed the insurance twice. The claim that she placed on the car was with an insurance policy that when she gave the check to the auto body shop didn't exist anymore. She then put on another policy after letting it default for 6 days, which is illegal in the state of New York. She canceled the policy in January and didn't tell me. And I didn't know until my work told me that I had a suspension on my license. And so I went to the DMV and I asked. And that's when I found out that she had canceled all my car payments and changed all the contact info to go to herself, her phone number, her email, all of that. My car payments had not gone through since November. My insurance didn't exist since January 25th. They took away my car plates. They took away my license. They are looking to repo my car. They took away everything. All my savings, gone. I found out she wasn't really working, and she actually lost her job back in January, and she'd been lying the whole time. She told me that she had a trip to Ohio for work in March. I have since found out that whatever she was doing there was not for her work at the Center for Discovery in New York. And from there, it just escalated. And then we started finding pictures of her and Mr. Ohio Tech Jake. And for the longest time, she told me, he's just a friend. Don't worry. I'm helping him and his wife, Heather. Who of which? Heather? I have found no evidence she exists. But I digress. She has these friends. She's talking to them. And then the conversations get later at night, middle of the night. I'm not allowed to sleep in the bed anymore. I'm not allowed to touch her anymore. She doesn't want to have sex with me anymore. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. And then we fight. Because I find a picture of her and Jake on March 24th, the very day that I picked her up from the airport. The day she turned around and got on a plane and flew from Ohio back to New York. I have since then found pictures of them kissing on TikTok. They are apparently married. They did live streams while they were in Ohio together, and numerous other activities that I could go through. Go on their TikTok. You'll see them. They are together. Meanwhile, I stayed home. I went to work. I cared for our daughter. I brought groceries in the house. I picked her up and dropped her off at the airport. And all this time, she's calling me crazy because I said something to her that was bothering me and I didn't like it. All true. Do you want to know what her reaction is right now? I don't care. Straight to my face. I've never committed a single crime. I don't do drugs. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not abusive. None of that. I've had teeth knocked out. Right here. Fake. Missing. Almost cut the heel of my hand off with a knife. Pointed rifles at me. And yet, I can go to hell. 4 years. And a child. Do you know what I get? A 520 credit score. No money in my savings. $1,200 in my checking account. No car. No license. I'm barely scraping by to try to find an apartment. Because, by the way, that third apartment, that third place, guess what? $9,700 in arrears. The money I gave her towards it, no idea where it went. Giant mystery. All gone. All of it. Meanwhile, Mr. Jake Myers, Ohio Tech Jake, oh, I'm a psycho. She's been trying to evict me. I promise you, there is no paperwork that shows that. In fact, I can go back to March, the last time I gave her money towards the apartment, and show you the $2,100 I gave her. But she was evicting me, right? Sir, you don't know what you're involved in. And I honestly feel bad for you. But it breaks my heart to even look at what's been going on while I diligently work for my family. And you've taken advantage of it. Stay tuned for part 3.